I don't want to die. April was sitting on the bed hugging her knees. The cold winter pierced her bones like sharp thorns. She tried to cover her small and delicate body as best she could, but in that abandoned palace where she had been sent to live, it did not give her the shelter she needed. April was the first daughter of the king of Venedig, a cruel and ruthless man who saw all his children as mere tools. In the Laos kingdom, the heir to the throne was always the firstborn, no matter the gender of the child. However, the king did not want a sickly little girl as his heir, so he sent her to the innermost part of the palace to die in silence. April had clung to life with all her strength, even though she only received one meal a day and did not have the right conditions to survive. She did not give up and clung to life admirably. In the silence and between tears, he repeated himself over and over again. I don't want to die, I don't want to die. God, if you're listening, please help me, I don't want to die. April repeated those words every day, over and over again. No one could understand why a being as weak and unfortunate as she was kept clinging to life. One day, one of the maids who brought her food once a day asked, "Why do you still want to live? Wouldn't it be easier to let yourself die? Then all the pain and suffering you're feeling would disappear." April was 12 years old. At that young age, 6 years had been hell, but she did not give up before the claws of death that whispered in her ear every day to stop fighting. As she ate the thick soup with a ravenous hunger, April answered him. "Why don't you jump off the tallest tower in this castle? You're crazy. If I did, I'd die. You see, just as your life is valuable to you, my life is valuable to me, so stop asking me to die, why won't I?" She continued eating in silence. When she finished, the maid took the tray with the empty plates. She had not left a single crumb. It was all over. After the maid left, April looked out the window. Outside, the snow had begun to accumulate. As she looked through the window, she raised her eyes to the sky and said her little prayer again, joining her two hands. I don't want to die, please God, don't let me die. April continued to pray the same prayer for 3 more winters. On the spring of her 15th birthday, that servant girl who always brought her food brought her a beautiful dress, beautiful jewelry and ornaments to decorate her hair. Why have you brought all that? He asked curiously. His Majesty asked me to bring all this, to make her beautiful. He wants to see her. It had been 9 years since the last time April had seen her father. She still remembered the cruel words that he had spat at him in rejection the last time she had seen him. I don't need a crippled daughter as my heir, so die the hell out of it. Do you know why he wants to see me? No, he just told me to hurry up. That servant gave her a cold water bath. April's whole body shuddered when she felt the cold water spilling over her thin body. She wished that all that would end quickly, but it was not like that. It was long and tortuous, since she had to stay very clean. After bathing, the maid helped her get dressed. She put a beautiful neat white dress on her, then she put 2 flower ornaments, one on each side of her long reddish hair. Then she applied a light makeup. Finally, she adorned her neck with a small necklace with a tear-shaped sapphire. The maid made her look in a broken mirror that was in a corner of the room. She looked beautiful, despite not having lived in adequate conditions. April had become a beautiful young woman with reddish hair, with white and pale skin like flour, due to the fact that she almost never received the sun's rays and that she was always locked up in that cold palace. Her sun-golden eyes sparkled and her mistletoe-red lips looked beautiful and delicate. While April looked in the mirror, the maid placed the last ornament in her hair that was at the bottom of the box she had brought. It was a fine veil. When April saw it, she realized what was happening. She was going to get married. Since death never came into her life, her father wanted to get rid of her in another way, with marriage. April didn't say anything. She just wished that wherever she was sent to was a better place than the one she lived in. Everything is ready, please follow me, His Majesty is waiting for you. April walked with a relaxed step through the corridors of the palace. Everyone who saw her murmured as she passed, wondering, who would it be? And where had it come from? She had red hair, a trait unique to the Venedig royal family, which was why everyone had been so shocked. see her since no one remembered that she was the first princess of the kingdom of Laos. April continued walking, completely ignoring the murmurs of the people. She was taken to the throne room. He bowed, nor did he greet the man who looked at him coldly and contemptuously sitting from his chair. He told her, "My dear daughter, I see that you have grown beautifully." Although the words of that king seemed sweet, to April they seemed an insult. His father smiled mischievously and told him, "This day you will be sent to the kingdom of Kosset. Due to the constant wars, I have decided to send my most beloved daughter to form a peace alliance." April did not complain, nor did she say anything. She simply stood listening to her father's words, wishing that everything that will be over soon. That dress she was wearing was heavy and uncomfortable. The shoes she wasn't used to wearing them squeezed him and made his feet ache. "Dear daughter, I hope you have a good life with your husband." The king beckoned to some guards who wore a white uniform. "They must be the soldiers of the kingdom of Kosset," king said. "Escort my precious daughter carefully." The guards approached April and told her, "Please follow us, a carriage is waiting for you." April didn't say goodbye to her father or bow before leaving. She just turned around and followed the other's guards. While looking at his back, his father told him, "May the light of Aaron be with you." Those last words seemed affectionate to the guards escorting her. Only those who belonged to the kingdom Laos knew what those words meant. "May death come soon to visit you." Although Abril had lived her whole life locked up without receiving any education, she had learned to read before being locked up. There she occupied her time to read. She also knew that her father's last words were a wish of death for her. April did not turn around. She walked with her face up, ignoring everything around her. When she left the palace, she saw a huge white carriage with gold decorations waiting for her at the entrance. One of the guards helped her into the carriage. April looked out the window. From there she watched as they left the palace behind. She thought she would feel something when leaving her place of origin. However, she did not feel anything. There was no regret, no joy, no sadness, no emotion overwhelmed her. She closed the curtain on the carriage window and said to herself, "He hoped that my life in the kingdom of Kosset is better than it was in this place."